You know, it's been 8 years since the Red for Ed movement. Thousands of Arizona teachers walking off the job, demanding better pay, smaller class sizes, and more funding for education. Yeah, I was in that sea out there. I mean, just tracking this all, it was something the state had never seen before. If you fast forward to today, not a lot has changed for schools across the state.
Yeah, Governor Katie Hobbs has shared her thoughts about the future of Arizona schools, but for the first time ever, we're hearing from her sisters. Did you know she's got sisters, 2 teachers in the Valley?
That's right. Our Justin Pizzera sat down with all 3 for this exclusive story you're only going to see right here on 12 News. So, Justin, what an interesting dynamic to have them sit down. Is there any one part that kind of really sticks out to you?
You know what, Allison, there are so many parts that really, just kind of stick out in all of this because they have such an interesting perspective because they have such a direct line to the governor. But the governor and her sisters, they grew up here in the Valley. They grew up in Tempe. And they say that they did not grow up in a political family. In fact, they didn't talk politics at the dinner table at all. So the fact that one of them would become governor was something they didn't see coming.
Hi, how are you?
Classes have just started for the day at Valley View Leadership Academy in South Phoenix, and our interview with Governor Katie Hobbs and her 2 sisters is about to start.
I should have asked you what watch band you were wearing. Oh my God.
You have matching watch bands?
We do.
Did you guys plan that?
No.
This is a first for the sisters who've never sat down together to talk on camera about the state of education in Arizona.
What do you think is the number one issue in our state with education? If you could check one thing off that list, you're like, this has to be fixed, number one, what would it be?
The lack of funding at my school is alarming. I currently work 3 days a week because my school can't afford me full-time right now.
Beth is the youngest sister. She's a 4th to 6th grade reading specialist at the Paradise Valley Unified School District. Becky is the governor's twin.
She's older by
11 minutes.
She's a 6th grade science teacher in the Scottsdale Unified School District. She remembers helping the governor early on in her political career, driving her around while she knocked on doors in the brutal Arizona heat. She saw her sister's hard work, and at the time, it didn't make sense.
I was out of the classroom for a while when my kids were young, so during her early politics days, I also did not understand why would someone work this hard. I didn't understand the impact of local politics because I was out of it. And as soon as I went back into the classroom, it was 2016, and I was like, holy cow.
Arizona has ranked near the bottom in education for years, and in some measures for nearly 2 decades. Both Becky and Beth say they try and stay in their lane and not act as an advisor to their sister. But the governor herself says it's the stories she hears from her sisters that she keeps in mind when looking at policy.
I was just going to say, I think hearing from both of them, stories, sometimes really heartbreaking stories about kids that they have in their classroom that are just having horrible experiences, and sometimes coming to school is the only place that they feel safe.
We touch on a lot during our sit-down interview, but the state's controversial empowerment scholarship account, better known as ESAs or vouchers, is one thing that consistently comes up. Former Arizona Governor Doug Ducey expanded the program in 2022, allowing anyone with a child in public school to use public money to send them elsewhere, regardless of a family's income.
Now all Arizona children will have an opportunity at an excellent education.
But 12 News recently found extensive abuse where families are spending taxpayer dollars instead on things like jewelry, vacations, and home improvements.
It's just really disheartening every time you see another story on it about what the vouchers have been spent on, and knowing that teachers at my school are just wanting to buy paper and pencils and folders for our kids.
School closings is also a hot topic that came up. According to the latest data from the Common Sense Institute, which tracks school closures, in 1 year alone, 8 districts in the Valley voted to close 22 schools in 2025, including Cave Creek Unified, Phoenix Elementary, the Isaac School District, Kyrene, and Scottsdale Unified. It's happening for a few reasons: fewer families with school-age kids, less affordable housing, and vouchers pulling state money out of districts.
This is really overwhelming and sad. My girls will need to transfer schools multiple times in the next 2 years.
So families are disrupted, they're uprooted from their communities, and they have to go assimilate somewhere new. The staffs don't know where they're going to be next year. It's impacted the whole system because it's delayed the ability for us to have contracts for next year, which we would normally have at this point. But they have to place all of the misplaced staff before they can issue contracts to the rest of the school districts.
And so we talk a lot more with the governor and her sisters. We talk more about school closures, more about those controversial vouchers as well. And then how do you attract teachers to come to Arizona and stay in Arizona and teach when, you know, honestly, we have a lot of issues with education here. So they touch on that. We have an extended version that's on 12 Plus right now, so you can check that out, ladies.
Such an important conversation, Justin, to be had. And I think having the perspective of her sisters, I remember when you first were crafting this story in your head, when you had learned that she had two sisters who were in education. What do they say about having a sister who's the governor? I wonder what like their dinner time conversations are like. Did they kind of let you in on any of that?
Yeah, well, we talk about it on 12 Plus because that is one of the questions. You know, I was like, so do you call her and just be like, you've got to fix this?
Right.
You know, and they say they try to stay in their lane really and not get involved in that. They're not an advisor to the governor.
Sure.
You know, but still it was interesting, you know, the governor was saying that she hears those stories from her sisters, and that does really make an impact when she is making those decisions when it comes to policy here in our state, because she hears firsthand how these students are being affected by some of the laws that are being passed here in the state, or not being passed. So, you know, it was very, very interesting. We have a very extended version right now on 12 Plus where we get more into some of those issues.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see the rest of that and how that conversation goes. And really, it's all about coming up with solutions, right? That is going to benefit our kids and our future. Thanks, Justin.